let's jump into what we're going to be covering today and the contents, so we know what to expect. So obviously, we're going to do a little bit of introduction to for myself and Spencer, just to tell you guys who we are and where we come from, and also talking about our respective companies, Quietly and Hyperise. And then we're going to jump into looking at image personalization and why that is important and how you can use image personalization in your outreach and significantly increase your engagement, how you can use that in email, how you can scale it, and also how you can create a hyper-personalized sales funnel. A couple of other little bonuses at the end, if we have time. Obviously, the key is to kind of make sure we cover the bulk of the content, get the Q&As done, and give everybody some actionable content so you can go away from today and start to implement something very exciting. So first of all, I'm going to hand over to Spencer and let him intro himself.
Hey everybody, I'm Spencer Farber. I am the CEO and founder of Quietly. My background is actually not on the engineering development side, it's on the sales side. So before this, I was with PandaDoc, very early days as the first employee, helping to scale those sales efforts. We started Quietly with the goal to help small to mid-sized businesses find ways to scale, specifically their outbound outreach and other types of outreach, even if they didn't have the same resources, whether that was from a financial side, whether that was the number of people in their company, and still be able to get out there to a lot of potential contacts and prospects and do that at scale. And so we found a way to really do that in a unique way. And so we're now helping everything from startups to agencies to solopreneurs, etc.
Cool, amazing. And yeah, so and Spencer and I met through our respective platforms and integrations. So yeah, it's great to see the platform as you've just described, and I've obviously had to play with it myself. When we were doing the integrations, and it's all the things that you said there. Certainly, kind of tick the box in terms of what you set out to do. In terms of my own introduction, hi everybody. I'm Ian Naylor, one of the co-founders of Hyperise, and Hyperise is essentially the personalization tool I've always wanted throughout all of the businesses I've ever ran over the 20 odd plus years, and really it's kind of the evolution of technology and speed of cloud computing and data availability that makes Hyperise a possibility now. That when I started my first business in 1999, we had a dedicated person creating personalized images in that business, and it was a massive a seller for us in terms of being able to kind of grab people's attention back then. But like I say, what kind of took a full-time person now with Hyperise you can do in seconds, and that's kind of the kind of something that I've been very passionate about in the 20 plus years of my kind of working career and working in various different B2B and B2C businesses. Aside from work, I'm a father of three, and if there was any such thing as spare time, with all those other things, I make and race soapboxes, although I haven't done much of that recently in COVID times. Obviously, this deck will be shared, and both Spencer and ours LinkedIn addresses are on our respective slides. Love to connect with you guys as well. So in terms of, let's jump into the content now and hopefully start to deliver some value and from your time today. And so in terms of the fundamentals of why image personalization, why is it so effective? I think that the first thing is that when you look at, say, LinkedIn, for example, where it's easy to kind of have a poll and talk to your network, I asked a question of whether people thought images was useful in outreach and whether it had a positive impact. And over 86% of people, out of a couple hundred people who voted, thought it was. But yet, interestingly, on this platform, LinkedIn, where people had this opinion, less than 1% of messages have an image in it, and maybe not much more for email either. Certainly, B2B sort of communications, it's very kind of rare for an image to be included, even though we all kind of really accept that it's kind of has an impact. And the reason why we should be thinking about doing these things is because user engagement is getting harder and harder. We're being bombarded by more messages every day, and so the amount of time we have to process and and kind of give attention to those messages is reducing. And so to fight through that and to stand out from all of that noise, you have to do something different. And that's what images do, and particularly personalized images. The human brain processes images like 60,000 times quicker than text. So when it sees an image and there's some personalization in there, it just puts a brake on the brain and just triggers what's referred to as a pattern interrupt. And that pattern interrupt, essentially a psychological behavior, just puts a brake on the brain, which leads to more mind share, which leads to more people being engaged in your content, and taking your call to action. And there's lots of ways you can do this purposefully. So the images isn't just there with their name in it, and it's just there just to grab their attention, but it can be used to reinforce your overall call to action. So what I thought might be interesting is just to kind of look at some examples, of how we use it in our own business, but also how some of our clients use it to great success. And this is one example here. You can see I've got a message reaching out to Jeff. And in this example, I've got a whiteboard next to me, and I've got the personalization pulling through with Jeff's name and his business name there. And, obviously there's a personalized title underneath the image. Now, there's a couple of things going on here. Obviously, we've got the personalization there in the image, so that's going to trigger the pattern interrupt, but also the fact that it's a GIF, the movement draws the eye in. And then on top of that, we've got the kind of human to human, that kind of, it's personalized in terms of it's me, but it's also personalized because it's personalized to Jeff in this case. It's like a double whammy personalization. And then that helps, because it's human to human, it helps trigger other psychological traits like the law of reciprocity, that states that if you do something nice for somebody, like smiling, waving, they're going to feel more compelled to respond in a favorable sort of way. And so again, it's just piling up these kind of extra tricks, if you like, on your side that you can stand out and kind of drive further engagement, and get sort of responses like this that we see from Rebecca. Rebecca, no kind of young newbie. She's the CEO founder of a large marketing organization, but she's said, her response is like, love this. No, I mean, let's be honest, nobody loves cold outreach, but we've elevated her feel good factor by the law of reciprocity, the personalization, just the pattern interrupt, all of these things that are just layering on in your advantage the chance that you're going to get responses like this. Or we can use the image to help tell a story to reinforce what we're saying. So for example, here we can see in the message I'm saying, hey, I'm always up for a coffee and a chat about growth, and there I am using the prop of a coffee cup in the image, and so that's reinforcing what I'm saying and doing it in a nice, delightful way, obviously with the personalization as well, and helping generating responses like this from Edgar, who says, I never reply to these emails, this is the first one that worked. So really taking somebody like Edgar, who might have deleted the email ordinarily or marked as a spam, is now a paying customer in fact, but responded and took that next step. And so it's kind of creating that moment of delight will take people past that, like say, distaste for cold outreach or whatever it is, and kind of get past that and get them onto that next step. And so obviously that's the core of what we're trying to do. And lots of ways that you can create these images in a nice way that create lots of positive responses, but they don't always have to be GIFs. Not every call to action is suitable for you to be there with your whiteboard or your coffee or whatever it may be. And so I thought I'd share some other examples of clients of ours and how they're doing it. And this is one such example from a client of ours called G2. Now, if you're not familiar with G2, they're kind of like TripAdvisor for software. So you can go there and by category find the best, who's the best CRM, who's the best personalization platform, who's the best whatever. And in this case, they produce on a quarterly basis these types of reports, these quadrant reports or category leader reports. But in this case, these two images that we can see are personalized to Apple in this example. These are just mock-ups of those reports, and they write out to businesses not really featured on their platform and say, hey, if you work with G2, you could become a category leader. So it's kind of an aspirational message, and they're using the images to kind of reinforce that, showing there, hey, look, you could be, top of the quadrant report, and obviously where we're seeing the Apple logo, that's going to be whoever they're reaching out to. And in their case, they increased their reply rates from 15 to 48%, so tripled the amount of people that responded, and of course, why wouldn't you, with such a powerful image, seeing, this kind of, very prestigious kind of, position to be in, top of your kind of niche within the software industry, and kind of, it's kind of, why wouldn't you respond to that? And so being able to show success, in a personalized, purposeful way in an image, can have massive dividends. And by the way, I mean, this again, you'll get this deck, so you'll be able to watch the full testimonial video from the head of growth from G2. When Jesse talks about the statistics they achieved, he also talks about the size of their campaigns. Over 10,000 prospects go out in their campaigns. So big numbers that are achieving this sort of uplift. Another example, to kind of like visualize your story. This image here that we're looking at is an example used by reply.io. And what they do is they kind of tell the kind of that story, the pleasure and the pain. So the pain being, this is your current solution, lots of different disparate systems, and their solution is a streamlined, kind of multi-channel platform, but telling that in a very simple, streamlined way with just one simple change, which is the icon, the logo of the prospect they're reaching out to, and that alone increased their reply rates from 11 to 21%. The interesting thing with this campaign with reply, what they looked at when they wanted to benchmark the kind of the impact of having the personalized images in there, they also looked at their delivery rates into the inbox and the open rates. And what they noticed is that their delivery and open rates also increased as they got better engagement. Essentially what happened was their domain reputation improved because they were getting more people engaged, more people responding, less people, maybe mocking them as spam. And so it had that kind of double impact, if you like, of overall improving the domain reputation, as well as improving the engagement of those then emails when they were opened. I thought that was quite an interesting kind of side effect. A couple more examples, but this one's quite interesting. If you're running any sort of software business or a SaaS business, one of our clients, Hubstaff, their call to action was to sign up for a self-serve free trial. So what they wanted to do is put the product in the hands of the prospect, before they actually clicked that button and signed up. In this case, they've got some screenshots of the product off their website, with the dashboard and the app component. And essentially, their product allows people to manage remote workers, and the remote workers can be tracked and their time and all that sort of stuff. And so, again, you can see this image here is personalized to Tim Cook from Apple. There's over 12 different personalized elements in here, right down to the map, the location in there. And what that led to in that campaign was over a tripling of kind of click-throughs for the call to action of signing up for the self-serve free trial. So a massive uplift, going from 3 to 11%, a significant uplift in terms of the amount of people going to that next step of the funnel. So what I thought might be fun now is just a tiny little quiz. Don't worry, nothing too serious. Just one of our other clients and a case study we have of them. They went through a couple of different images in terms of trying to find the right one to kind of compel to tell their story. So what we've got here are 3 different images that Orca Security used in one of their campaigns. Now, what Orca do is they sponsor events, and then they reach out to those prospects after the event, and essentially they do cybersecurity and that sort of thing. And so they're reaching out to businesses that have attended, like say Black Hat, which is a cybersecurity event, but they're only interested in large enterprise businesses, people that have more than 1,000 cloud assets. So they offer a $200 bribe to say, if you've got more than 1,000 cloud assets, jump on a demo with us and we'll give you $200 gift card. So it's quite a convoluted story to tell, obviously a lot of text to put into a message, and therefore obviously low engagement. And so what they wanted to do is kind of visualize that story. And they've got these 3 different examples here. So what I thought might be fun is just in the chat, if you just want to kind of pop in whether you think 1, 2, or 3, which one of these was the winning order, and we'll just do a quick straw poll of which ones we think. So we've got image number 1 here, which is kind of showing a gift card, essentially, so mocking up kind of what the value of the offer was in terms of the bribe. And you can see it's balanced with the Black Hat logo in top left, the event they've attended, and obviously the Orca logo bottom right. and then just the simple personalization of the person who was receiving it in the bottom left corner here. Image number 2 was kind of vibing off the fact that it was an event, and so you kind of got like the stage here and the personalization all on there. Similar sort of thing, more message, addition of the prospect's logo as well as the kind of the date of what the event was, just to kind of tie all that back in. And then we've got image number 3, and this is Todd. He's one of the SDRs at Orca, and you can see it's kind of vibing off number 1 in terms of the gift card, but we've got a bit of humanization, if you like. We've got Todd's image in the middle, and then we've got the kind of the personalized note there on the right hand side. So let's have a quick kind of straw poll. It looks like most people are saying 3, number 3, and yet those that voted, thank you very much. You're absolutely right. So let's look at the results of that. Todd here, number 3, has actually had a 3.1% conversion, and that's compared to the 1.7% conversion that they got in the base test, which was with no personalized image. So we can see all the images had an impact, as we can see with the 2.4%, 2.7, 3.1, almost double the baseline with the no personalized images. But what Orca did is that they didn't rest on that. They didn't just kind of go all in with that kind of Todd image. They got all their SDRs to kind of make these humanized GIFs. And so we've got Steve here, number 1, and we've got Todd here again, number 2, and then this is Eric, number 3. Now, the funny thing here with this, with these 3, and again, feel free to vote on the second one here, so we can decide the winner on this one. So when they started this campaign, Orca with us, it was just the start of lockdown, so everybody was at home. And this is Steve just standing in his hallway. He didn't really have a home office or anywhere that he thought he could put on a webcam. And we've got Todd, who looks quite regal in his chair there, but he didn't have a whiteboard, is kind of one of the things we were suggesting. So this is just a picture he took off the wall and turned it around. It's the back of a picture. And then we've got number 3. We've got Eric here, and Eric for whatever reason had an Orca suit at home. And obviously, it's kind of in brand, but quite zany. But nobody wants to vote on this one. 1, 2, or 3. But yeah, Jen, Sharkadoodoo. Yeah. So obviously, number 3 does kind of stand out. And when we look at the results of this, it massively stood out from a winning percentage as well. And again, when we kind of think back to the fact that 1.7% was the conversion rate without a personalized image, and this Eric one here got 5.7%. Now the interesting thing, at the time, I thought when we were going through this, I thought Todd was going to win it for sure. I thought they're reaching out to CISOs, to C-suite, high end ticket size, big business enterprise size, and so I thought maybe this Eric one's going to be a little bit too zany, especially for like the chief information security officers is their target. But and the fact that it won so much, I kind of thought, well, maybe it's just because it was locked down and everybody needed a bit of light relief. But Eric's still using this now, and obviously, hopefully, touch wood, all the lockdowns and all that kind of sadness is kind of mostly behind us now. But yeah, that's still the winning one. They still continue to test. But when we look at the numbers just in kind of whole black and white, it makes even more stark reading, I think. What we can see is we've got the baseline campaign that they ran, first of all, with no personalized image, that achieved the 1.7% conversion. That actually was 12 bookings that they achieved. So, and that was with 700 messages, and the whole campaign was 7,000. So we can kind of extrapolate that if we were going to send all of them on the baseline, we'd have probably got about 120 bookings based on this conversion rate and how many we got out of the 700. But what we can see is that what we got in the end was 262. So that's 178 uplift on what we would have achieved without the personalized images at all. But if we'd have gone for the GIF images straight away, we'd have been closer to 400, almost 400 bookings. So, the uplift from, circa 120 to, almost 400, is a huge uplift by simply, personalizing the images and the experience, and using that to reinforce, what their call to action was. So hopefully that's kind of given you some ideas of maybe how you could use it in your own outreach, whether it's a GIF or whether it's just a static image, in lots of different ways. But like I say, the great thing about GIFs is that they do draw the eye in. They are a great way of just layering on the chance of driving that engagement and that kind of feel-good factor that they can deliver. And so I thought it'd be fun just to look at a couple of different examples, again, of ones that we and our clients are using, or that we've kind of seen out there in the ether, as it were. But so these are kind of some of the kind of ones that have been used by clients. Like this is James from Staff Circle, who uses this to kind of great effect to kind of congratulate people when they change jobs on LinkedIn, and using that as an outreach strategy, and doing it in a nice personal way. If you want to say you've looked at somebody's website, having a screenshot of their website on your computer screen, really, really nice to do that. So lots of different ways that you can put yourself front and center, thanking someone for a connection when they connect with you on LinkedIn, really kind of, making that a kind of a really nice event that, that people have, and it's totally different from how ordinarily they would kind of get a thanks for the connection, and therefore that's going to help cement the next steps you take from there. Or again, going back to Orca, one of the things that they do is they have these kind of product images that are embedded on their website to personalize their website, but they're also then personalized to the business. Again, you can see in this example, personalized to Apple. But the engagement doesn't have to stop just when somebody signs or subscribes or does takes that initial call to action. Using GIFs to kind of celebrate further milestones on onboarding, or kind of renewing subscriptions, that sort of thing, finishing academy or onboarding sort of courses, and then congratulating them in a nice way, kind of again drives that engagement and continuation. Helps with churn as well as sales. This is a great way of kind of driving virality into your, if you do events, like this one today, and we have quite a few different event companies and businesses, like the one we can see in the middle is our own, and we've got a kind of Ad World or Ecom World, for example, creating shareable personalized images. So in this case, we can see that Amy Fisher, she signed up to go visit Ecom World, and then she's received her own personalized ticket GIF, and then encouraged to share that, for further kind of joy or benefit, or something else. And so being able to create these shareable images, one, it creates kind of moment of delight for the people receiving it, but then also you as a business get the chance to kind of enjoy that virality, that referral of getting somebody to kind of expose you to their network. And from a recent event that we did, we saw a pretty interesting kind of statistics around the sort of engagement of these. So, for example, the image that we chose to share here, we added 3 share buttons for LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook. And what we found is, by majority, LinkedIn was the bigger platform we got shared to. But on average, about 9-10% of people that received this kind of opportunity actually did share, and each of those shares on average generated about an additional 6 registrations. So what that meant for that event, there was about 50% uplift in people registered for the event by that kind of virality kind of boost. So creating these kind of ticket gifts, or a way to kind of have some sort of shareable element. Doesn't obviously have to be a ticket for an event, but something that can create some virality and kind of and you can reward people for sharing, then that's that can be another great strategy. But what I thought would be interesting now is kind of look at how we can create those gifts and how we kind of do that, and how you can go away today and start to do that for yourselves. So what I'm going to do, first of all, is just kind of go through a couple of examples. We looked at a couple of different kind of images and GIFs there, and how the different routes for creating those. So first of all, the kind of humanized GIFs that we looked at, you can record those directly within Hyperise itself using your webcam. So that's kind of one way that we can go. A lot of the other kind of images we're looking at, they're more the kind of like the meme sort of ones. You can find those on Giphy.com. So Giphy.com is a GIF search engine, essentially. You put almost any word in there and find, a suitable GIF. Also, you can use your mobile phone. So use your mobile phone to record some video, and then using an app like Motion Stills or Lively, you can convert that to a GIF and then obviously add that to your Hyperise account. So let's jump into Hyperise, and we'll start off kind of creating a new image, let's say this, a personalized GIF, just so we can see exactly how that process works. So now, first of all, the important thing to mention is, if those of you here on the call that don't have a Hyperise account, we have a completely free trial, so you can sign up for Hyperise without having to put any credit cards or any of that sort of rubbish in. Get started, build your template, put it into your cliently campaigns, and start testing this today. So without having to spend a penny more. So first of all, let's look at the image editor that we've got here. We've got the personalization tools on the left-hand side that we can drag into our canvas. We've got our main canvas in the middle where we're going to set our image, and all the settings on the right-hand side. So first of all, what I'm going to do is click the canvas. What that does is pop open the image library. And what we'll see here is, first of all, any images that you've previously recorded or uploaded, they're all going to be in here, as well as a bunch of stock images. So again, these are images that you could use, in more generic ways, to use to help tell your story. But what we can also do is record a GIF. So that means, so if you're just starting out and you don't have any in your image library, we can set the size, whether we want square or portrait or kind of just default, set the length of the GIF we want. And the way these GIFs work, they will just loop. So a 2-second GIF is probably enough to kind of wave, or if you've got a whiteboard next to you, be kind of pointing at it, or whatever it might be. So in this case, maybe I'm just going to grab my whiteboard. So kind of got your prop or whatever. Oh. And so, we could record this and choose your time. And so once we've done that, we've got our little recording. And so we can kind of submit that and use that as a basis for our image template. And now what we simply need to do is just start to add the personalization to this. So for example, maybe first of all, we might want to add some text on here. So we can just rotate and skew and change this sort of thing to make it fit within the canvas that we've got here of the image. Obviously, you can completely style this so it looks like it's maybe more on the board rather than just plonked on there. So for example, changing the font to maybe like a permanent marker sort of style, maybe increase the font size a little bit. And then what we've got some some text there. Remove the placeholder and just add in like a little message like, hi, first name, would love to chat. So maybe we could just leave it like that for now. What we could also do is maybe add in some other personalization, like maybe their logo. Again, we could kind of skew that a little bit just so it just kind of looks like it's more kind of fitting on the canvas. And maybe just add in, just for fun, we'll add in just a little love heart in here as well, just to kind of, just like I said, just for fun. Right, so there we go. We've kind of very simply created an image. We can preview that now. And what we can do, let's see if I put in my old favorite, Tim at apple.com. Now we can see in this case, the image, we've got, hi Tim, would love to chat. And again, we're putting through the Apple logo on the board. So very simple. And obviously it was a simple image in this occasion, but it took a minute to create, recording our GIF. Like we said in the image library, you've got lots of options within stock images, as well as being able to upload any sort of image, PNG, as well as GIFs, JPEGs, etc. And that's kind of as simple as it needs to be in terms of creating an image that's going to have, an impact in terms of, reaching out to somebody and humanizing that connection. And so let's say, for example, this is the image I wanted to use in an outreach. Then simply, all I need to do is choose the get image code here. I'm going to click this button. I'm going to add the integration. So obviously I'm going to add the integration for Cliently. Oh, so if you spell it correctly, I'm going to choose Cliently. And what that's going to do is give me my personalized image here. And you can see now we've got the tag here, which is actually the Cliently tag. So I can just copy that image there. And what I can do is go straight over to a campaign or the flow, should I say, into an email template. You can see I've already got one here, so I'm going to just delete that first of all. So we've just got our email template here. And all I'm going to do is just paste this in. So I'm going to just right click and choose paste. And what that's going to do is add in that personalized image with all the parameters directly that's needed, pulling through directly from the data inside Cliently and pushing it directly into that image template. So what that means is that we're going to get this personalized image dynamically personalizing on the fly every time this template's used in this flow, without having to do anything else. So it doesn't matter whether there was 100, 1,000, tens of thousands of people in this flow. They're all going to get this personalized experience without any further effort on your own behalf. So I mean, that's kind of hopefully giving you a little bit of food for thought in terms of the sorts of images that you can start to add into your outreach, and how to kind of add this into Cliently. So I don't know if at this point, Spencer, you would like to maybe jump in and kind of share some further examples in terms of Cliently, or whether in my fist-handedness of doing that, I was able to give it some justice.
No, that was great, Ian. Yeah, it might be helpful for me to show just very quickly what you're able to do in terms of once you send these campaigns off from a tracking standpoint, because specifically now that you're doing these personalized GIFs and those types of things, you want to see how your clients are actually clicking, how they're engaging. And so let me see if I can steal the screen back from you for just a minute or two.
Absolutely. Perfect.
All right. So now I think you might have to make me the host again.
Oh, yeah. Okay, let's... Okay, you should be.
Perfect. So one of the things that we do that's unique is we give you the ability to create what we call recipes through these different filters. Now, something that ties into what you're talking about is you want to look at who's engaging to figure out, maybe instead of just putting a task and saying, I'm going to call this person on this day or do a LinkedIn message on this day. And I know, in fact, Ian, I think you're going to get into something from that side too in a little bit. Let's look at the people that are most engaged based on some different parameters. So for example, I might put engagement, and let's look at, number one, we always look at open. So let's look at email opens. Okay, that's greater than 1. That's fine. But what we want to also start to look at is clicks as well. And especially when you're looking at, okay, is my messaging getting a higher number of clicks? That's great. But now what am I going to do with that? So for example, I can look at all clicks is greater than 0 as well. And now all of a sudden I can see how people are engaging. And from there, I might decide to get even more personal with it, whether that means that they're watching a video that I sent, whether that means they're clicking the link that we sent them through that GIF, whatever it might be. And now you're able to gather that information and engage them one-off, or even put them in a new campaign based on that they click. And so we just want to give you a very different view to see all of this. And now the fact that you can see it based on clicks and those types of things, you can create these recipes to understand where to focus your time. So that's what I wanted to make sure that I showed very quickly. One last thing as well, just while I've got the screen, one thing that we love to do is help people engage at scale. And so a lot of times people will use multiple inboxes. If they're a small company and they want to act as, they're 10 people instead of, instead of one, they'll use, email addresses where it's Spencer F at Cliently, Spencer Farber at Cliently, et cetera, and it becomes impossible to track. And so we want to give a view called conversations to where everything can be seen in one place so that you can quickly answer all of your messages right here. And you'll be able to see what type of message it was. So if it was one with that personalization, you'll be able to see that message. You'll be able to see the custom data of that person, but have a shared inbox so that you're seeing everything that's going on. So I'm going to now pass back to Ian, but I just wanted to show everybody some of the areas that we can help you do this at scale as you're hyper personalizing at scale as well with Hyperise. So 1 second here, and I will give back the screen. Let's see.
That was really cool, Spencer. I didn't know that you could have that kind of multi kind of inbox view. Does that work just on one domain, or was it possible you had like 2 domains? Would that work? Or would it just different users of the one?
Yeah. Domain? So actually, give me just one more minute. Give me the screen back one more time.
Yeah, absolutely.
You made a
Sorry,
good point.
I should have asked that question before you.
No, that's okay. It's a good question. I'm glad you asked it, because one other thing that I did not show is absolutely you can have 100 email addresses in there. You can have 100 domains, but usually when people have multiple domains, and this is where it works really well for agencies, is you might have company 1, company 2, company 3. This might have 3 inboxes, 12, 14. Oh my God, how do I check all of these? This is going to tell you right here if there's a new reply or new conversation that came in. And
Oh, I don't know if it's me or you. Oh man. Right. Okay, I think we just lost Spencer there. I thought it was just trying to work out whether it was my connection or Spencer's. It seems like it was Spencer's. Okay, so you're stuck with me. Luckily, that means that I'm host again, so I can share my screen, and we can go back to where we were in the proceedings. So let me just share my screen now. So where we were up to, we were just maybe we had a little short demo there for Spencer. Maybe we can hopefully get him back on and we can kind of conclude that. But let's jump into the next thing that I want to talk about, which is hyper personalization. So far what we've talked about is using personalized images in our outreach and how that can, we saw double, triple, quadruple in some of those use cases in terms of the amount of engagement, whether that engagement are clicks or whether they're replies, obviously different sort of call to action depending on what you want somebody to do. But either way, having a significant impact. But obviously the replies, obviously that's one thing, but for those when the call to action is a click, then that means that they're going to end up somewhere else, a second step, which gives us a second opportunity to personalize. So we looked at before in terms of the image personalization hub staff. Now, show was the complete campaign because yes, this was the image they used in their outreach in the emails, which we saw had this 3.5x uplift in terms of going from like 3 to 11%. But what they also did is because the call to action was to sign up for a self-serve free trial, when they did click the link or the image in the email, they got to do a personalized landing page. Now, here's an example of this page. You can see again, as always, in the example, it's personalized to Tim from Apple, but you can see the header is personalized to Apple, the business. We've got, obviously the Apple name in the subtitle. We've got the call to action button, which is stop the trial with the first name personalization there, and subsequent subheaders personalized. And of course, all the different product images, we already had those personalized because we were testing those in their outreach campaigns, all of those personalized as well. And what that led to is the personalization on the landing page doubled the amount of signups that they achieved. So not only did they triple or more people get into this page, but then they also doubled the amount of conversions. And the great thing there is that these two things compound, right? So the 3.5x uplift on the first step and then the 2x uplift on the second step led to a 7x uplift overall. And what that meant was for hub staff that for every 300 emails they sent before, they were getting one sign up, and now for every 300 emails they're getting 7 or more sign-ups. So a massive uplift in terms of the amount of effort they have to do now to get those sign-ups. It means they can scale this channel much more effectively. I think it's going to have Spencer back by that ding, hopefully. But that 2x uplift they achieved on their landing pages is by no means an anomaly. This is a survey done by HubSpot actually, but they compared over 300,000 web pages over a 6-month time period. So quite a meaty study in terms of time and length and kind of volume quantity. But what they found was there was a 202% better chance of someone taking the call to action when personalization was used around it. So exactly as we saw with Hubstaff, having the personalization here, the main call to action being the button, that actual button was personalized. And of course, there's personalization all around it, pretty much hit it bang on. They got a 2x uplift, and this same HubSpot survey, said it was bang on a 2x uplift as well. So pretty kind of well correlated. Although this may be a bit of an outlier then in this case, Intercom, when they did the same thing and personalized their landing pages with companies' names and text, they got a 3x, 300% uplift in conversions. So again, slightly better. So what I thought would be interesting would be to look at how that website personalization works. And so what I'm going to do is just go to one of a landing page that I use in our own outreach. And what we can see here in this case, so this is a landing page that essentially what we've got is a header, we've got a video, the main call to action page, which is to get somebody to book a call. The page is structured where we've got social proof next to the main call to action. We've got further details of what the call, the meeting we're going to have, what it's going to entail, what can you expect. And again, going back to what we were talking about before of how visualization is important, images, we're kind of balancing all of the information, the textual information, with a visual guide on that. So in this case, like a timeline, and again, further visualization of what we're going to do. You're going to get a strategy report, and it's going to include this X, Y, Z. But what you'll notice as we kind of go through here is that this whole page is personalized right now to Benjamin from Tenacious Toys. And so throughout the page, we're seeing various elements in terms of, the images, the report, all personalized, on the fly, as it were. And essentially this whole page, even the video personalized.
Hi, Benjamin. Did you know videos generate the highest level?
And in this case, I won't play the whole video, but I'll just skip through to the end. You can see we've even got personalized interactive options in the video. Like again, for example, another option to click to book a call. In this case, just going to open up another tab, load Calendly, or learn further things, get further videos.
Hi, Benjamin. Welcome to your interactive video personalized.
And this whole page is just one single page that will be personalized thousands of times for each recipient. And essentially, we can just change the personalization using a simple UTM parameter. So what I'm going to do now is just change this page to my favorite personalization buddy, which is obviously Tim Cook. And what we will see here is, again, from changing one URL parameter on this page, this whole page now has changed to, you can see we've got the business name of Apple, we've got the video now, which is personalized to Tim.
Hi, Tim. Did you know video?
We've kind of got all sorts in this video, like we're just going to skim through it. We've got a brainstorming session here, where we're kind of audibly talking about Apple with, personalized voice, as well as obviously putting through their logo and name on the board. Go a bit further on. We've got a personalized video. We've got the Apple website here, on the screen.
Checked out the Apple website, and we have some tips.
And of course, all the call to actions are personalized to Tim, in terms of, the reports and, and all these sort of elements. So, and what, again, as we saw before, these sort of changes are going to lead to, typically a 2x uplift. And we can simply create these, add this sort of personalization to any page at all. It doesn't matter what your website is built on, you can add this personalization. The very simple process is that you can load the personalization toolbar. So in this case, I'm just going to load that up on this page. And what you'll notice now, before where we saw all the personalization, where we saw the business name there before, you can see we've actually got some tags in there, first name here, business name there, personalized images. And what I can do is I can go through the page and select any bit of text, for example, and grow conversions. Maybe I want to put business name and grow business name conversions. So as soon as I select a bit of text on the page, you can see that I can see all my personalization tags pop up. So I could add business name into the page there. Or for example, if I wanted to change an image to be personalized, I could select the image, and then all of my personalized images from my Hyperise account, like here's the one that we just made before, I can select that and then add that into the page. Or if I don't want like that one, for example, I could also add personalized video. So a personalized video I've created, I could simply add that into the page as well. So very simple to define personalization on landing pages. And like I say, it doesn't matter what the page is built in, who, what the website's fundamentally built in. We have a little JavaScript snippet you add to your page, and then you use the Chrome extension. So for example, for client here, we say rather than unify your sales engagement, we could change your for business name. So unify, Apple sales engagement or whatever, or here where we've got a start free trial, we could put in, for example, first name, start your free trial, and so we can very simply, without code, without kind of delving into the back end architecture of a site, personalize any part of the page. And the great thing is that obviously the personalization is initially, as I mentioned before, being triggered by a URL parameter. So you can see I set a URL parameter here, and that's triggering all the personalization, in this case for Apple. But now when I go to, like, say, the home page on the site or visit any other page, what we're going to see is that personalization still continue. So in this case, what's happening is that we've dropped a cookie on that first visit, and now whenever we visit any other area of the site, wherever we've defined personalization, that's going to trigger. So whether we go on the home page or whether we go to the blog, we're going to see personalization pull through. Again, like just a simple welcome, it makes people feel more special, and then more likely to engage in your content, and finally take your call to action. So creating these multiple steps, hyper personalization in your funnel, being able to personalize the outreach, get more people to your page, personalize the page, and obviously get more people to take that call to action of signing up, filling in a form, and whatever it may be, significant benefits to be had there. So hopefully that's been useful. I can see that we are kind of hurtling towards the 45-minute mark. We're just past it. I did promise to be finished by the 45 minutes. So hopefully that is a good place to move to the Q&A and answer any questions that you may have. I can see that there's at least one popped up there already. So let's kind of jump straight into that. In that case, this one was about sending out the reply. So the replay, yes, we will be, obviously this is being recorded. So once we've got that all sorted, we'll send that out. So don't worry about that. So that's done. But yeah, please do, if you do have any other questions, please do pop them into the Q&A tab now. Happy to cover them. Whilst we're kind of waiting for you to formulate and think about those questions, just a couple more things. Oh, great. Okay, thanks, John, for posting that. With Cliently, can you CC someone into campaigns and keep automation? So that would be a question for Spencer. I'll pass the mic over to him. Spencer, if you're there.
You can CC people into campaigns on a one-off basis. So once you go into a campaign, you can edit it at any time for an individual and add CCs or even BCCs. Unfortunately, there's not a way to necessarily do it in bulk. I'm always curious, though, in terms of the CC for everybody in that campaign, is it to send, is it to give visibility to somebody specific on your team, or is it that I'd love to understand the use case, because we have something called conversations, which I was showing briefly, which can give some visibility for admins to see all the messaging and replies.
Cool. Yeah, thanks.
While we're waiting for a response there, yeah, there's a question I think for you. It would be actually, you know what, a couple other questions real quick. So the use case would be, for external example, a partner and a manufacturer. Gotcha. Okay, so yeah, short answer, John, is it can be done on a one-off flow basis, but not in bulk. So if you're looking to do several hundred at one time, there's not a way to do it that way. It'd have to be added to each individual campaign, unfortunately. And then there was a question, does Cliently also plug into any primary CRM? Yes, we do have direct integrations with HubSpot, Pipedrive, Salesforce. We also have a Zapier integration. And in fact, that real-time view that I was showing everybody, we have Salesforce directly built into that. And we also are going to be adding Pipedrive into that fairly soon. Lastly, you can also actually do actual flows right inside of Salesforce, Pipedrive, or HubSpot today. You can edit flows, add flows, including ones that Ian has through Hyperise. And Ian, go ahead and I think there's a question for you.
Yeah, thanks, Chad, for the question. So Chad was asking, I'm not sure whether people can see the questions, so I'll just read out. For video personalization, is any other software needed to achieve the results demonstrated? No. So we leverage Google DeepMind for the text to voice, Google's DeepMind AI, but that's included in the Hyperise subscription. So, you know, a Hyperise plan or the trial will give you everything you need to create a video, slap it on your landing page, you know, and create a great experience for, you know, for the people that you funnel to.
Okay. I think that was all the questions so far, Ian.